man, what a doozy of an episode! Episode 9, The Stakeout of Legend of Korra, Book 3. Change is a doozy of an episode. We got a lot. We actually learn a bit of the Red Lotus's goals from Zahir, and my suspicion was correct in that, Unalaq was in fact behind it. Which that one line I remember from Book 2, I think it was in Civil Wars Part 2, where Korra's like, I bet it absolutely just killed you to realize that your brother was the father of the Avatar. Apparently, Unalaq he planned to capture Korra, but he wasn't so involved that he was going to get captured. You know, those four planned to capture Korra, and that was going to be the end of it. We still don't know what exactly they want to do with her, but Zahir is okay. I think the parallels are going to be drawn to the Joker. This guy is all about anarchy and chaos, which I'm going to get into a bit of a theory in a minute. He says, destroy the established governments. All because of established governments is why there's problems in the first place. Fire Lord Sozin destroyed all the air nomads, and the Earth Queen is pretty tyrannical. So this will be interesting to see where it's going to go. The episode itself, they follow Aiwei into this spirit oasis. They're also being hunted down, the four of them. What thought to be bounty hunters are apparently Bolin's biggest fans of his movers. Excuse the coughing. I have a bit of a cold, and I'm just losing it. Yeah, I thought that was just funny. One of them kind of looked like older Sokka, which I thought was, I don't know. So they find Aiwei, and they find his old Jeep. Also, Naga is a bit of a bitch in this episode. And I guess that is sort of a pun because, she is a polar bear dog. They find Aiwei's Jeep out of fuel or whatever. Excuse me. They find Aiwei's Jeep. And Naga's like, "Yo, can you give me a treat?" And Korra's like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot treats." And then she just slaps Korra with her tail. I was like, "You bitch." Oh well. I thought that was kind of funny. So they find him fairly quickly. They get a hotel room just opposite of where his hotel room is. And they actually find in his Jeep, they find this note that he'll meet in this specific location, but they can't find it on the map. So then finally at sundown, he'll meet the Red Lotus. So they finally break in at sunset, and they realize he's meditating. They realize, wait a minute, we can't find it on the map because it's probably in the spirit world. That's why we can't find it. So yeah. This is a very Empire Strikes Back episode, I must say. A lot of just bad shit happens. Anyway, she enters the spirit world, and Zahir tosses Aiwei into the fog of lost souls. Because Zahir realizes he's a loose end. Anyway, Zahir and Korra finally talk. Since they're both in the spirit world via meditation, they can't bend. This is something I'm kind of curious about. What if Korra's spirit, because there's spirit portals. What if her spirit walked out of the spirit portal? Would there be two Korras, or would it would go back into her body? Just something to think about. It's also neat to see Korra in the spirit world via meditation. I mean, that only happened I think once last season. Anyways, so yeah, then Zahir just tells her everything, saying fuck the establishment. And he brings up this quote saying, the only way for the seeds of the future to work is to demolish the established order, something like that. And he said, an airbender once said that. Yeah, the air nomads, based on peace and tranquility, says that anarchy is the way to go. That was great. Also good bits are Bolin and Asami play an epic game of Pai Sho, and epic is no understatement. It's pretty tense. It's just I was like, I could watch an entire episode of them playing Pai Sho. And they have this huge argument of just Um, of like, what's the best way to play? Like, be quick and fast about it, or to be like stealthy and plan it out. Though Asami wins all the times. But at one point, Bolin's going to win, but then Pabu wrecks it. Well, excuse me. Then there's the ending of the episode. Of course, Zahir just tells the other Red Lotus members that they're in the Spirit Oasis. Get them. Get them. So Minghua and Gazan. Gazan is the blandest of them. The only thing he's really got going is, of course, the magma bending. All the others are at least somewhat interesting. Zahir is the most interesting, but he's just sort of cannon fodder, really. Minghua kind of falls into that category, but the whole no arms bending thing is pretty cool. And she's played by Great Lyle, so that's also cool. But Lee is interesting because because they had told 2 episodes devoted to her, like her escape basically. And of course Zahir is the most interesting one in that first airbending villain. That's pretty sweet. So but Zahir also says that it was. He also says it's good to bring open the spirit portals, but he said that Unalaq merging with Vatu was just something they never planned, and that when it happened, it was just like, whatever. I do question how he was able to hear of that, but, I mean, technology's good in that time, in that how it's presented in the show, but, I don't know, maybe you've heard of it, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, that's basically the episode in a nutshell. At the end, Bolin and Mako fend off Minghua and Gazan, but it goes as well as you think it would. We get that epic slow-motion fire cut, but it doesn't prove successful. The 2 are defeated and captured. Bolin has... God, if they were planning to kill him off right there, that would have been that would have been a painful death. Death by drowning. This is also the first episode to be distributed online, which I was kind of like, yeah. Zahir also explains that the Red Lotus was created sort of out of pretty much how shitty the White Lotus is. And given, like, their track record of actually dealing with threats, the White Lotus is pretty shitty, so, yeah. But I do like him in that he's, like, the natural anarchist type. He said he met Unalaq when he was a teenager. And then when he learned how to airbend, it sort of, like, gave him new hope. So... he's a pretty cool villain, I must say. Far more interesting than Unalaq. But I am still curious what his plans are with Korra. I mean, if that whole thing with the dark avatar wasn't part of their plan, I am curious what it is. But we can only sit and wait and find out, I suppose. But then, okay, now comes my little theory. I was reading on Korra Spirit, a user that has very kindly put the episode online on his or her website. Put a video recently about a little theory. She thinks that Su Yin is probably working with Zahir because I think it was in the Metal Clan episode 5. Su Yin had a line saying that she was going on about the Earth Queen. And said that, isn't she just terrible? Shouldn't someone just, take her down or whatever? Basically kind of going in what Zahir was saying. Oh yeah, I also got a nice bit between Su and Lin. So that's a nice bit where she's just like, seriously, you let them go off? And she's like, you can't control her forever. It's like, well, I can maybe. Well, sometimes I can try. So yeah, my theory is maybe Su is working with Zahir. Ooh, it's raining outside. Maybe she's working with Zahir or working with the Red Lotus. It would be a neat twist. I also like how it's a spirit oasis and there are spirits everywhere. Yeah, it's just a nicely tense episode. So and then it comes in the end. So Asami and Korra take off. Korra's still in the spirit world. They take off on Naga. Um, Mako and Bolin are captured. That sucks. And apparently they weren't captured by Asami and Korra. They weren't captured by the Red Lotus. They were apparently captured by the Earth Queen's forces. And then we get the scene of Korra in the straitjacket, all Silence of the Lambs type style. Silence of the Lambs type style. And I was like, geez. Asami's there with her handcuffs like that, and she is... Sorry, the 50 Shades of Grey trailer came out a little while ago, and it's got me, like, going, yeah. So when I first saw that image of Korra doing that, I'm like, oh. I would think, couldn't Korra just, like, firebend the straitjacket off, or, I don't know. But yeah, the next episode's called Long Live the Queen, or Long Live the Earth Queen, which will... I'm already speculating. But now these episodes are coming a lot slower. It is kind of like, ugh, I'm not going to wait so long, because this series would have been over, I think, today, or next week, like, had it still been airing on TV. So, yeah. But overall, the episode is very good. It's nice and tense. We get some good character bits with Zahir. And I do like that he was very, like, open to saying, here's our plan, just sit down and listen. I mean, I was thinking, like, because they don't want to kill Korra. It's clear that they kind of want to raise her to do other things, as with what Unalaq was doing, but I'm thinking, like, this kind of, like, because, let's face it, people, Unalaq was a terrible villain. I mean, his motivation to become the Dark Avatar and go all kaiju style of destroying everything just seemed a bit like, I mean, he's kind of like Darkseid. He's like, Darkseid coming down, just destroying everything. Oh, whatever. But, I don't know, with these four, I don't know, we'll see what happens, I guess. I'm curious about the next episode, and, I don't know. Maybe my theory will be correct. Maybe Sue is actually working with Zahir. But I am still curious about how they apprehended them. And I've said this a few times, but what was Zuko doing in this season so far? Because so far he's done nothing. He was just in those episodes for eye candy. But, just for eye candy, and he hasn't really done much. Apparently he was involved in apprehending these people, but... no, whatever. But I do like the whole New World Order between Zahir and his bunch. Fuck the establishment. And even Korra is like, well, yeah, President Raikou is pretty terrible, and the Earth Queen is kind of shitty. I do like that they didn't go, because when they see the wanted posters, the picture of Korra is like going, or whatever. I'm glad it wasn't like, they just can't get my picture right. I'm glad they didn't do any of that stuff. Korra's just like, she doesn't really care about that. We demand more pie show. I like that they go into the pie showdown. That was a great line. So yeah, it's just a great episode. Is it the best of the season? I don't know, maybe. I mean, my favorite so far is still Old Wounds. But it is a bit of a weird jump going back from the whole Metal Clan, like, that was like 3-4 episodes, basically, to now we're back on track and a lot of serious shit is now happening. But I do kind of like it. I'm curious what happened to Naga, though, and maybe Pabu, because if they captured Korra and Asami, then, yeah. I do like that we don't really see Ghazan earthbending too much. He primarily magma bends. Especially when Bolin's just like, I'm just giving this guy ammo! What do I do? What do I do? I didn't think it was a bright idea for him to jump into the water. I'm like, there's a waterbender there with no arms. But overall, it's a very good episode, and I'm looking forward to the next one. See ya.